Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Super News. I'm Ollie Davis, back from journeying into the heart of YouTube, where I found out Is Fakidor has been staging a secret invasion of WrestleTalk. But the only help Knockout Val could give me was just this photo of us together. What could it mean? The very fate of the WrestleTalk channel is on the line, and apparently Fakidor's evil screen stalker plan will be revealed today. But I haven't seen him around yet, so I guess I'll just do the news first. We've got a mucho grande show for you today, including the latest on AJ Styles' WWE contract, more wrestlers possibly off to All Elite Wrestling, and Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson reportedly leaving WWE. Click the timestamps in the video description below to jump to any of those stories right now. Also, press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe to help us climb the hill to 1 million subscribers, and answer our question of the day down below. What was your match of the night at WWE Fastlane, baby? Because I'll be replying to people in the comments from out of nowhere. I thought it was actually a very enjoyable pay-per-view, with McMahon heel turns, Seth Rollins screaming the F word in the main event. Fun. And Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali putting on a fantastic match, despite none of them being Kofi Kingston. And if all that wasn't enough, we had Ronda Rousey following up on her controversial work-shoot comments on pro wrestling being scripted by taking part in an obviously scripted pro wrestling storyline angle. God damn it, WWE. In last week's episode of her Ronda on the Road YouTube series, Rousey followed up on her heel turn from Monday's Raw by shooting on WWE, its fans, and how wrestling is scripted.
I'm going out there, I'm doing whatever the hell I want, and they can explain it away however they want, but f*** them. Everybody, WWE Universe included. I meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport that they all love so much. Oh, don't break kayfabe, Ronda. Wrestling's, it's scripted, it's made up, it's not real. None of those bitches can f***ing touch me. The end.
I love it when things I like to believe in remind me they're not real, and I'm an idiot for pretending they are. There's a reason the Avengers Infinity War post-credits scene wasn't just Thanos saying, that was all just a movie, but if it came down to it, Josh Brolin could totally take Mark Ruffalo in a fight. The controversial promo caused a mixed reaction from wrestlers on Twitter. On the negative side, we have Rusev's. Ronda's new character is not real, she is playing a badass, but we all know she ain't in real life. WWE Hall of Famer Alundra Blaze requested, maybe bring back Kayfabe, in my opinion. Wandering eyes, very frustrated emoji. And Liv Morgan posted, lol, my body is sore all the time. That's not fake, that's real. To be fair to Liv, when you're tagging against Brie Bella, that's about as real as it gets. Chris Jericho, however, who released a podcast breaking down the structure of his Wrestle Kingdom 12 match with bitter blood feud rival Kenny Omega just days after it happened, seemingly came to Ronda's defense. Makes me smirk when wrestling fans and critics get up in arms about something a performer says or does. This is show business. Nothing more, nothing less. So when an action or promo elicits a reaction and connects with an audience, it's successful. Sit back and enjoy the ride, kids. Whereas Randy Orton observed from out of nowhere, everyone is asking me if I have a comment on Ronda Rousey in her latest video. Nice hoodie. Hashtag RKO. Hashtag Jews paid. Ah, the quickest way to a wrestler's heart. Promote their merch. But what about the two women Ronda is actually facing in the WrestleMania main event? Charlotte replied, can someone please remind Captain Badass here that her last two fights before coming to WWE ended with her unconscious and sobbing in the cage. 4 years ago, you were untouchable. Now, not so much. You're a class act, Ronda Rousey. And Becky Lynch continued her run of Twitter form with, Ronnie since the man came around. If you can't hack it, get your jacket. Ronda herself then doubled down on targeting wrestling fans specifically, posting a photo with the caption, you're a mark. You know that, right? I'm not a mark. I'm Fakidor. No, Ollie! Ronda giving Becky a DQ win in last night's Fastlane match didn't just get Lynch a WrestleMania main event spot though. It also caused Luke Owen to get yet another match wrong in our fantasy prediction WrestleLeague. The current standings after all the pay-per-views since the Royal Rumble is Is Fakidor Laurie Blake in first place with 19 points. Does his power know no bounds? Me 3 points behind him at 16, and Luke Owen catching up in last place at 14. But Luke, Laurie and I aren't the only participants in the WrestleLeague, as any of our $5 and above pledge hammers on Patreon can also take part. And most of them are much better than us. It's It's quite embarrassing. We've got over 500 people in the league, which will conclude at WrestleMania 35, and the front of the pack has now become even closer, with Brian Asepi, Dactron, David A. Thornton, Eric Kumanale, Jack Woolhead, JP Wood, the Mayor of Painesville, Dan, and Mr. Swifty, all tied in first place with 22 points. Special shout out also needs to go to Jamie C, all the way at the bottom of the table in 19th, who's managed 4 whole correct predictions over Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and Fastlane. Click the link in the video description below to go to the full Season 1 table to find out where you rank and to join the WrestleLeague yourselves. Season 2 is shaping up to be even bigger, as it won't just include WrestleMania 35, Backlash, Money in the Bank, Extreme Rules, and SummerSlam. We'll also have predictions for All Elite Wrestling's first official pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, on May 25th. And the odds on another former WWE star making a shock appearance at the show might have just been slashed, as former WWE Cruiserweight Champion turned rapper Enzo Amore has been saying some very nice things about the new promotion in a shoot interview with the Title Match Network, saying it all ties into a long-lasting feud between the Rhodes and McMahon dynasties.
Dusty did that with his son, Cody Rhodes. And I get chills when I think about it. What he's doing right now with AEW is the coolest shit I've ever seen, because it's Dusty Rhodes' son going head up against Vince McMahon. Dusty, we go back, Dusty gets made a mockery of by Vince McMahon. Put him in yellow polka dots.
And he did.
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Now go get over, because you know what? You used to book against me. You used to be my competition, Dusty Rhodes, and now you're working for me. And that's Vince. That's his mindset.
Did you get along with Vince?
So we'll get to it.
Okay.
Dusty and Vince had
Of course.
you can't, and to see Cody kind of reignite that flame, in essence, to me is the coolest thing, because it's his son, and I know he's probably the that I learned from Dusty. Could you imagine?
Enzo has talked before about how much respect he has for Cody's late father, Dusty, as the two were apparently close from Amore's time in NXT. Enzo's reputation has been significantly damaged since, though, leaving WWE after being accused of sexual assault, an investigation that was later dropped due to insufficient evidence, and releasing a rap album with a line about his consensual penis. There was speculation Amore might turn up at last September's All In, but Cody and the Elite team appeared against the idea. Time to bust out the wig one more time! There are a few other wrestlers, however, that are much more likely to join the new promotion. AJ Styles signed a 3-year deal with WWE in early 2016, a deal which is now reportedly very close to expiring. And despite a few articles claiming AJ has already re-signed with the company, reports that Styles himself has denied on Twitter, the Wrestling Observer write he has still not agreed to a new contract. The Observer reports that because of his age and the stability of WWE at this point in his career, and what he's told friends, all expectations are that he will sign back on with the company. Despite Kenny Omega saying in an interview 2 weeks ago that Styles was his dream opponent, and AJ being very good friends in real life with the Young Bucks, those in AEW had not expected Styles to consider coming, although they obviously would have wanted him if he was interested. Styles has said in the past that he will step back from in-ring competition in his mid-40s to spend more time with his family, and he'll be turning 42 later this year. Rather than AJ being off to AEW, perhaps the reason he still hasn't re-signed with WWE is because they're negotiating how he can work a schedule with fewer dates, like Daniel Bryan. AJ's former Bullet Club faction mates Karl Anderson and Luke Gallows are an entirely different story, though. Unlike AJ, who won the WWE Championship and effectively built the post-2016 brand split version of SmackDown Live, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson have been barely featured on TV. The Good Brothers debuted for WWE after jumping ship from New Japan a few months after AJ. They briefly formed a faction with Styles against Roman Reigns and the Usos, and won the Raw Tag Team titles a year later, but they've been used sparingly since being drafted to SmackDown Live in April 2018. And according to PW Insider, they're now not even being used for live events, as the team were taken off house show dates back on the 25th of February when contract negotiations didn't go well. With the looming spectre of AEW and Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling recently opening up funds to sign new stars, WWE management are looking to lock down any talent whose contracts are up soon. Gallows and Anderson's current deals reportedly expire this fall, so officials apparently offered them multi-million-dollar deals, which they both turned down as they intend to exit after their current deals expire. PW Insider writes that Gallows and Anderson want to leave because of how they have been handled in recent years, citing being relegated to live events, inconsistent televised appearances and storylines, and a planned WWE Network series starring the pair titled Botch Club being abruptly dropped after its debut episode. The most obvious destination for the pair is All Elite Wrestling, because of their long-existing friendship with the elite group of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega from their time in New Japan together as the Bullet Club, and also the promotion's planned focus on pushing tag team wrestling. A return to New Japan isn't out of the question either though, which is where the Good Brothers cemented their act, and both ROH and Impact are also currently bidding for talent. It's a good time to be a high-profile wrestler negotiating your contract, which might be what's happening with SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, the Usos. When discussing Gallows and Anderson's contract statuses with WWE, Dave Meltzer noted how they're not the only wrestlers who are holding off on signing new deals, as Jimmy and Jey Uso also haven't yet re-signed with the company, and their deals reportedly expire in April, much sooner than the Good Brothers' contracts in September. Well, that's the news done, and so far nothing has been assimilated by Is Fakidor. No screen stalker, evil plan reveal. I think we got away with it. I think the photo must be like some kind of mystical charm that Val gave me. Not Cow Val gave me to ward off the evil spirits. Well, it's a weird way to wrap up events, but I guess all's well that ends well. I'll just do the end card outros. It's alive. It's alive. Screen Stalker lives, and soon all will be Fakidor and WrestleTalk will be destroyed because Phase 3 is beginning. Click the video over there to find out what Screen Stalker actually is, and click subscribe to join the Fakidor Screen Stalker army and destroy WrestleTalk!